Okay, today we're going to be answering a question from a viewer. The viewer's name is theif519, and he's just asking for me to do another tutorial, just basically going over the while command or while loops. So I've done videos on while loops before. It's something you should learn early on while working with scripts, and but it doesn't hurt to review, and maybe I can explain things a little better this time around than I did last time. So let's get started. I'm just going to create a script. I'll call it myscript.sh. And you want to start all your scripts with what's called a shebang. So this first line is the shebang line. And basically it's telling the operating system what type of script this is that you're running. And since ours is a bash script, we're going to tell it to use, !bin/bash, telling it to use the bash interpreter. So basically, bash is a program that's going to read each line that we write in this code. So a while loop usually is while, and then inside square brackets, in most cases, there are different cases, but inside there you're going to write the condition. So if I spelled condition right, I don't know. Then you're going to have a do and a done, and everything inside this do and this done will loop as long as the condition is true. So you can put different commands in here. So command. So I mean, that's actually not commands right there. I'm just giving you an idea of what goes where. So that's basic setup of a while loop. So let's do a very basic while loop. And we'll just create a variable, and as long as that variable is equal to something or greater than something or less than something, whatever we tell it, that's what we're going to go with. So what we're going to do is we're going to say let x equal 1. And actually, let's not put spaces in there. Okay, so right now x equals 1. And what we're going to say inside here is while $x, because the $sign signifies that x in this case is a variable, so it looks at what x equals, which is 1. And we're going to say while x is dash LT, so that means less than. So while x is less than 10, we're going to do everything inside this loop. So let me delete that. Okay. And we'll just say echo test. So now we'll save our script and make it executable with chmod. Chmod plus x for executable and the name of our script. And then we can just do / the name of our script. And by the way, I'm hitting tab to autocomplete. So once you type part of something, you can hit tab, and it will autocomplete based on what files are available or what options are available that you're trying to autocomplete. If I hit enter now, it should print test on the screen 9 times. Oh, no, it goes forever because I forgot to put something in there. So you can see it's constantly printing more and more. It's kind of hard to see what's going on because things are going so fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a sleep command here. So we're going to say sleep 0.2, and by default sleep works in seconds, so this is every 0.2 seconds it will loop around. So we'll run this. So now you can see it's printing test, 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 and it will do that forever as long as x is less than 10, which it is because it's constantly 1 in this case. Now if we change the value of x within our loop, so we'll say let x equal actually plus equal 1, and what that says is take x and add 1 to it. Whatever x is, which in this case is 1, it's going to equal 1 plus 1. So now x equals 2. So next time it loops, it will be 2 plus 1, and it'll be 3. And the next time it loops, it will be 3 plus 1, and it becomes 4. And as long as x is less than 10, it will loop. But once it is equal to or greater than 10, it will then continue with the script, whatever's outside of the script. So let's put something down here. We'll just say echo done. We'll save all that, and we'll run our script so we can see test, 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 done. Now, to show you a little bit clearer on what that is, instead of echoing test, we'll just echo what x equals. So we'll say echo $x. So each loop it's going to print what x equals. First it will be 1, then it will be 2, all the way up till it says 9, because it won't loop after that, because after that it will be equal to or greater than 10. So there we go. Ta-da! So that's a part of a while loop. Now, if you did want the loop to continue forever, you could create a variable and then just never add to it. So in this case, it will loop forever because x does not ever equal 11. But let's do it without a variable. So that variable is an extra line. If we don't need that variable and we just want it to loop forever, let's add a echo so we can have some output here, and we'll just say test again. So we want while to loop forever until it's interrupted somehow, which we'll get to in a moment. In the past, I've done this two different ways. You can say while 1, like so, and in bash scripts, make sure you have the space on either side of the 1. If you did it like so, it would not work. You have to have those spaces in there. So that will work. That's one way to do it. And you can see it will just loop forever, because 1 means true, 0 means false. So as long as it's 1, which is true, it will loop. I can press Control-C to kill that. Another thing you can do is you can also type true. And I've always typed that with a capital T. I'm not sure if it will work with lowercase t. We'll check that out in a moment. So there you go. Once again, since the condition is true, then it's going to loop forever until we interrupt it with Control-C or another way of interrupting it. So let's do a lowercase t here. See if that works. Yes, so I guess it doesn't matter whether it's a capital T or lowercase t. That's good to know. But I actually, just before I started recording this video, saw another way to do it. It's a little bit shorter. If you just do while and then a little colon symbol like that, we'll run it. That's the shortest way I know of doing a while loop consistently. Now, there is a command called break, which will break you out of the loop. So, if I come in here and I type break and run the script, it did it once. So that's kind of doing it that way. There's really no need for the loop because it's never going to loop more than once. But what you can do, and this is something I don't do often because normally I would just do it the other way of saying while something is true, but there might be cases where you want to have more than one condition. So what we can do is if, and now we're getting to if statements, but if we say if x is greater than, greater than 10, we'll say, we are going to do then break. And then we have to end our if statement with a reverse if, fi. So right here we'll probably get an error since x does not exist. So let's say let x equal 1. And then right here we'll say, let x plus equal 1. And we'll change our test here so we can see our output a little bit better. $x. We will save all that, and if we run our script now, you can see it's outputting, and it went all the way through to 10 because we said, well, it's if it's greater than 10. If we said equal to 10, it would have stopped at 9. So that's another way to break a loop that basically is constantly going. And obviously, in this case, in this script that I wrote out, that's not the most efficient way to do it, but I just wanted to show you the break command. I've done tutorials on that before. There may be options where you're constantly getting user input, and you can have it check multiple things, and it can break out of that while loop. So where if we did, like we did earlier, where we said while x is less than 10, that's constantly checking just for x. We can have multiple if statements inside our while loop that check different things, and they can break out of the loop depending on multiple different things. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. So let me think if there's anything else that I want to go over with while loops. Oh, I wanted to go over the while read, which is something I've done a number of times in my videos. It's a very common thing that we do. And I'm going to try to do, let's see if we can do this as a one-liner. Let's create a text file real quick. I'll just say vim my.txt, and we'll create a couple of lines. This is a line. This is another line. One more line. 3 should be enough. And obviously if we cat out that file, it prints that entire file. But if we take that cat and pipe it into while read, what it's going to do is it's going to read that file line by line. So we're going to say while read, and we have to create a variable, which is each line as it loops through. So we're still going to be looping, but it's going to be looping through each line, and we're going to set each line as a variable. We'll just call the variable line. So basically the first time it loops through, line is going to equal this line here. The second time it's going to equal this line here, and then this line, and then we go on and on until the end of the file. So, or if you set a break example, if the line equals something, you could exit out. But we'll say while, and then once again you have to have your do and your done. So this is basically the same scenario as before. We're just writing out all in one line. While reading each line, what we'll do is we'll say echo test. And we will hit enter, and you can see it prints test 3 times because it echoed test for each line in the file. But you can also have it check the line in the file. So we can say echo line equals, and we'll say $ line, which would be our variable line, which we set here, which as we said is each line as it reads it. So if we hit enter, it will say line equals, and it will say what the line equals. So we'll hit enter. There you go. And if you want, we can put a sleep command in there, just as we did earlier. I'll say 0.2 again for 0.2 seconds. And you can see how it prints out each line. We can actually do maybe 1 second to make it a little bit clearer. So you can see it's going through each line that we're catting into it and piping into the while. So catting out the file, then while we read each line, and line is our variable, what are we going to do? We're going to echo the word line equals and then our variable line, sleep for a second, and then move on to the next line. Let's take that whole thing and I'll throw that into our script file to make it a little bit clearer for you. Putting everything on one line may look a little confusing to new users. So we will say my script again, and I'll just delete everything below our shebang. And I will paste in that one-liner, and basically this is what it looks like if we properly format it. So we're taking the output that we're spitting out from cat, which is the text file, and while we read each line, do everything in here until we're done. And we're going to echo out the line and sleep. So if we save that, we don't need to make it executable again because we already made the script executable. So // and the name of your file, enter, and there you go. Anyway, I hope this made things a little bit clearer with while loops. I hope I didn't confuse you if I went too far too fast. But it's a video. Watch it again if I went too fast. Thanks for asking the question, the if 519. And I hope everyone has a great day. And please visit my site, filmsbychris.com, Chris with a K. And there's a link in the description to more on this post. Have a great day.